Think Iceland is just waterfalls, glaciers, and cozy hot springs?
Wrong. Way wrong. Because behind the Instagram-perfect landscapes and northern lights is a nation full of secrets, rules so strange, so unspoken, they'll leave you questioning reality itself. Imagine this: a land where horses are never allowed back once they leave, banished forever like exiles. Where beer was outlawed for 74 years, yet vodka and spirits poured freely. Where nearly 7 out of 10 children are born outside of marriage, and nobody bats an eye. This isn't the fairy tale Iceland you see in glossy brochures. This is a world of hidden taboos, silent codes, and traditions so bizarre they'll make you rethink everything you thought you knew about this tiny, volcanic island. Welcome to Iceland, the land of beauty, myths, and shocking truths you were never meant to discover. Number 15. No rude hand gestures. Seriously. In Iceland, gestures speak louder than words, and not in a good way. Flipping the middle finger? Big mistake. Whistling to get someone's attention? Rude. Even making that OK circle with your fingers? Tacky at best, offensive at worst. A 2021 Nordic social survey revealed that nearly 78% of Icelanders said they'd actively avoid someone, local or foreign, who used what they considered inappropriate hand gestures. But it's not just about your hands. Eye contact matters too. While it might mean honesty in many cultures, in Iceland, staring too long is seen as flirtatious, suspicious, or even aggressive. 1 to 2 seconds of eye contact, then look away politely. That's the norm. Tourists have shared stories about getting cold reactions in cafes after simply waving too hard or making direct eye contact. And no, Icelanders won't confront you. They'll just quietly freeze you out. Number 14. Need a bathroom? Find a rock. Yes, this is real. In Iceland, it's surprisingly normal to relieve yourself behind a rock, near a trail, or, believe it or not, next to a monument, as long as you follow one sacred rule: leave no trace. With over 2 million tourists a year, but only 400,000 residents, Iceland struggles with basic infrastructure, especially public toilets. At famous sites like Skogafoss, the Laugavegur Trail, or Landmannalaugar, you may find no toilets for miles. Locals know this. They don't encourage it, but they understand it. Online, you'll find photos of people ducking behind hills or camper vans. One American tourist shared how they had to crouch behind a van on a hiking trail, equal parts nervous and relieved. But don't leave your masterpiece behind. Signs at places like Gullfoss Waterfall say things like, "This is not a toilet. Please don't leave your art here." Others even come with diagrams on how to properly bury toilet paper and a not-so-subtle reminder: if you can't bury it, pack it out. In Iceland, nature is sacred, and so is respecting it. Number 13. No bringing raw meat, eggs, or fresh milk into Iceland. Think you'll pack your favorite snacks for your Iceland trip? Think again. Raw meat, fresh eggs, and unpasteurized milk are all strictly banned from entering the country. Why? Iceland is fiercely protective of its agricultural purity and disease-free status. Customs officers at Keflavik Airport are quick to confiscate anything that could pose a threat to the island's delicate biosecurity. Seems fair, until you realize that Iceland imports up to 60% of its annual food supply. Despite the ban, the country relies heavily on imports, especially for fruits and vegetables. While local lamb, dairy, and fish are plentiful, basics like apples, onions, carrots, bananas, and avocados are flown in from places like the Netherlands, Spain, and the US. At the grocery store, be prepared for sticker shock. A single imported apple can cost over $2, and almond milk, if you even find it, might be 3 times the price compared to the US. Icelanders are used to it. They've adapted to days when tomatoes vanish citywide, or egg prices skyrocket 60% after snowstorms delay European shipments. Number 12. No marrying someone with the same last name. In most countries, sharing a last name with your crush might raise an eyebrow. In Iceland, it might raise a genetic red flag. With just 387,000 people and over 1,000 years of relative isolation, Iceland has one of the most genetically homogeneous populations in the world. According to the Icelandic Genetics Center, nearly 70% of Icelanders share common ancestors just a few generations back, especially when both parents are native-born. So what's the problem with marrying someone who shares your last name? Well, in Iceland, last names aren't based on family names but patronymics. That means if you both have the same surname, like Jónsdóttir or Einarsson, there's a very real chance you're closely related. To avoid awkward and potentially illegal mix-ups, Icelanders have a modern tool.
Icelandic app, nicknamed the Incest Alarm.
Built using the National Genetics Database, this app lets users tap phones to check if they're too closely related to date. If there's a match, it sends a cheeky alert. Sounds bizarre? Not here. Number 11. No clothes allowed for healing baths. If you haven't soaked in warm, jade-colored water while snow falls around you and volcanic steam rises in the distance, you haven't truly felt Iceland. But if you plan to wear a swimsuit, you're doing it wrong. In Iceland, going naked before entering a hot spring isn't optional. It's expected. It's not about shock or spectacle. It's about cleanliness, equality, and a deep-rooted cultural tradition that views the human body as something natural, not shameful. At public pools like Laugardalslaug in Reykjavik or the Mývatn nature baths, everyone, locals and tourists alike, must shower completely nude in open facilities before entering the water. Yes, the rule is strict. No clothes, no rushing, no exceptions. If you skip this step, staff or even fellow bathers may stop you and ask you to start over. Even at the famous Blue Lagoon, with over 1.2 million visitors a year, tourists often arrive shy but leave transformed. The experience of floating in 100-degree F mineral-rich water under Arctic skies is liberating, physically and emotionally. Number 10. Alcohol and beer? Only at state liquor stores. Here's a wild one. Iceland once banned beer for over 70 years, but allowed hard liquor. The alcohol ban began in 1915 for public health. But by 1933, political pressure, especially from trade partners like Spain and Portugal, led to the legalization of wine and spirits. Beer, however, stayed banned until 1989. Why? Because beer was considered too cheap, too accessible, and too tempting, especially for young people and working-class citizens. But Icelanders didn't give up. They got creative. Enter the björlíki, a bootleg cocktail made by mixing non-alcoholic beer with brennivín, Iceland's powerful local schnapps. Finally, on March 1, 1989, Iceland lifted the beer ban. Today, that date is celebrated as National Beer Day, where locals and tourists raise their glasses to freedom. Beer freedom. But don't expect to walk into a supermarket and grab a six-pack. Real beer, anything over 2.25% alcohol, is only sold at Vinbúðin, the state-run liquor store chain. The beer you'll find in grocery stores is low alcohol, so weak it's not even considered real beer by Icelandic standards. Number 9. Fake marriages are strictly forbidden. In Iceland, love isn't something you can fake, at least not legally. As immigration laws have tightened over the years, some foreigners have turned to arranged or technical marriages with Icelandic citizens just to gain residency. The plan? Marry, stay in the country for a year or two, get legal status, then quietly divorce. Sounds simple, but it comes with a hefty price tag. Local sources say that some of these fake marriage arrangements cost between $15,000 and $25,000. Iceland's Directorate of Immigration admits that proving fake marriages is incredibly difficult. Couples often present matching stories, travel photos, shared addresses, everything you'd expect from a real relationship. In the last 5 years, residency applications based on marriage have surged over 40%, mostly from developing countries in Asia and Africa. Some couples meet online, while others connect through secret chat groups or immigration forums. Though no official stats exist, Icelandic media estimate that around 100 to 150 marriages per year may be based on false pretenses. Yet only 5 to 10% of cases are ever formally investigated. Number 8, 70% of children are born outside of marriage. In many parts of the world, being a single mom still carries stigma and judgment. But in Iceland, it's completely normal. In fact, nearly 70% of children in Iceland are born to unmarried parents. And no, that's not seen as rebellious or irresponsible, it's just how life works here. Walk through any park in Reykjavik and you'll see young mothers with strollers smiling and supported. No one's asking, "Where's the father?" or giving them pitying looks. Icelanders don't define families by a ring or a certificate. They see parenting as a shared responsibility or individual choice, not a moral obligation tied to marriage. Thanks to a strong social welfare system, mothers in Iceland, married or not, are offered full state support. Up to 12 months of paid parental leave split between parents, universal health care, and financial aid that doesn't require having a partner on paper. Number 7. Iceland's movie theater rule that baffles tourists. Picture this. You're watching a thriller in an Icelandic cinema. Just as the tension builds, the screen goes black. The lights come on. People start standing up and walking out. Did the power go out? Did the film break? Nope, it's just intermission. That's right. Mid-movie breaks are a totally normal part of watching movies in Iceland. If the film runs longer than 90 minutes, you can expect a 5 to 10-minute intermission, even in the middle of an action or horror sequence. There's no official law behind it, but this unwritten rule is rooted in history, dating back to the days of old-school reel projectors, when films literally had to be changed midway through. Now it's a habit, part of Icelandic movie culture. Locals use the break to stretch, hit the bathroom, grab more Pepsi and popcorn, or even update Instagram. Tourists? They're usually caught off guard. Some confused, some annoyed, others amused. Number 6. Naming your child is strictly controlled. In most countries, naming your child is a personal choice, a reflection of culture, creativity, or family history. Not in Iceland. Here, choosing your child's name is a legal process. Parents have just 6 months after birth to register the name with the National Registry. Miss the deadline and you can be fined. But here's the twist. You can't name your child just anything. Every name must be approved by the Icelandic Naming Committee, a government body that maintains a list of over 1,800 pre-approved names, categorized by gender, grammar, and how well the name fits Icelandic linguistic rules. Names are judged on whether they conform to Icelandic spelling and pronunciation, if they can decline grammatically in the language, and whether they respect cultural traditions. Names like Lucifer or even Harriet, common in the UK or US, have been rejected for not fitting Icelandic structure. And if your chosen name is denied? Number 5. No shoes inside the house. It's not a law, but in Iceland, wearing shoes indoors is a serious faux pas. Just like in Sweden, Norway, or Japan, Icelandic homes are sacred spaces. At the entrance, you'll usually find a small area for coats, scarves, gloves, and most importantly, your shoes. It may sound simple, but in a country known for wet, cold, and muddy weather, tracking the outside world across clean wooden floors is more than messy. It's disrespectful. To Icelanders, the home is more than shelter. It's a space for peace, reflection, and retreat from the chaos of the world. Even children are taught early. Shoes stay at the door. Respect stays in the home. No one will yell if you forget. But a cold glance or a silent pause from your host? That'll haunt your memory more than any spoken scolding. Number 4. Littering is a big taboo in Iceland. Iceland's landscapes feel like a page out of a Nordic fairy tale. glaciers, waterfalls, lava fields, and skies lit by the northern lights.
So imagine how it feels to drop a candy wrapper or cigarette butt here.
To an Icelander, that's not just rude, it's a betrayal of the land itself. In a country where 85% of energy comes from renewable sources, environmental respect runs deep. People carry personal trash bags on hikes, not just for their own litter, but to pick up what others may have missed. At scenic spots and natural springs, if you drop something, the next person might quietly pick it up with a gentle shake of the head. Not angry, just disappointed. And smokers? Never leave cigarette butts behind, especially on trails or grass. No one will yell, but the disapproving silence will say it all. Even the water reflects this mindset. Icelandic tap water is some of the purest in the world, better than many bottled brands. So if you're buying plastic water bottles here, you're not just wasting money, you're adding trash to one of Earth's cleanest ecosystems. Number 3. Dogs were banned in the capital. Pack your boots, your wool hat, and your camera, but if you're heading to Reykjavik, maybe leave the dog at home. Few tourists know that Iceland's capital once had a complete ban on pet dogs. The law was enacted back in 1924, when authorities were trying to stop the spread of dog-related diseases like echinococcosis, a dangerous parasite. Rural Icelanders could keep working or hunting dogs, but within the city, zero tolerance. Though the law has since relaxed, the legacy of the ban still shapes Reykjavik culture. Today, owning a dog in the city requires official permits, steep registration fees, strict quarantine, and vaccination protocols. Because of all that, dogs are still relatively rare in Reykjavik homes. Cats, however, they've taken over. Number 2. Selling underwear with the Icelandic flag is illegal. Wearing a swimsuit or pair of boxers with your country's flag might be patriotic where you're from. But in Iceland, it's against the law. Selling or using items like underwear, bikinis, socks, or shoes that feature the Icelandic flag is considered a serious offense. Why? Because here, the flag isn't just a symbol, it's sacred. The blue, white, and red represent Iceland's 3 elements: sea, ice, and fire. And using the flag in a disrespectful way, like printing it on something you sit on or wear close to the body, can actually lead to fines or police questioning. Some tourists have been fined up to $450 for selling flag print bikinis at summer festivals. Even foreign brands have faced online backlash for putting the Icelandic flag on masks, shoes, or fashion accessories, often unaware of the cultural weight it carries. Number 1. Icelandic horses can never return home. This one stuns most visitors. If an Icelandic horse leaves the country, it's never allowed to come back. Not even for a championship. Not even for retirement. Why so strict? Because Iceland's horse breed is one of the purest and most genetically isolated in the world, untouched by outside genetics for over 1,000 years. These small but powerful horses grow thick winter coats, have incredible stamina, and perform a rare gait called the tolt, so smooth it looks like they're gliding across the earth. But the reason for the strict rule? Disease prevention. Allowing even one horse back in could introduce viruses or bacteria that could wipe out the entire breed.